Hey everybody, this is NFT Buyer 777. I am the co-founder of MetaMillions and I'm back with another video. But before we get into it, I want to give you a little information. I am interviewing the community manager of Solana NFT Radar. Most of you know him as HOTSAUCE, and I hope you enjoy it. It's chock full of a lot of information, and I'm sure you'll learn some stuff. I know I did. So everybody, we have HOTSAUCE on today. HOTSAUCE is not the founder of Solana NFT Radar, that's Lauren, but pretty much the co-founder, I would say, is a really good title for HOTSAUCE. But HOTSAUCE, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I will accept the title of co-founder, but I don't know if Lauren give that stamp of approval.
Right,
But
that's true.
I am the community manager and on the board for the DAO. Yeah, I've been there for about 5 or 6 months at this point, and yeah, just loving it,
Nice.
helping out with the community, and seeing where this NFT journey takes us.
Yeah. So you've been in there for 4, 5, 6 months. What really got you into Solana NFT Radar? Because that's almost like from the beginning. Because I know I was in there around 800 members, and you were already in there.
Yeah, so pretty much just coincidentally when I started, which happened to also be around that same time, I was looking for like what influencers to follow and things like that. And I started with like the major ones like Big Brain. I think I started with Function on like ETH and things like that.
Right.
And the Solana NFT Radar account had probably like 10,000 followers at that time, which is
Oh,
obviously still a lot, but compared
yeah.
to like the 57,000 that we have now,
Right.
it's kind of crazy. So, but I don't even think it was. I think they actually did like a daily video for like at the time they had like their own like daily mint sheet thing, and it was like 2 or 3 mints for the upcoming day, and it was a video with a male voiceover, so I don't even know who was doing it because it wasn't Lauren, but
Right.
I that's what I watched like every day, and like I was like, oh, those are the 2 or 3 projects I'm gonna focus on.
Yeah.
So I did that for like a week, and like my first week I just watched. I didn't buy anything.
Hmm.
And the Discord wasn't created at that time, so like just coincidentally, like a week or two later, the Discord was made. So
Wow.
once I saw it, I jumped in. I think I was one of like the first 300 or so. Um,
Nice.
yeah, just kind of went from there. No, I didn't like full transparent. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but like I spoke like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
So
Do
people were
any of
just,
us know what we're doing though?
that's a good point. I probably still don't know what I'm doing, but it sounded like I knew something about something. So people were kind of just like, "Oh, hey, what do you think about this?" And I was like, I don't know, but I guess this stuff." And
Right.
eventually it just kind of snowballed, and Lauren, I guess, noticed, and there was already like some people on the research team. Pretty much all of them that are there now, not all of them, but a few that are there now were on it before me, and they've been there from the beginning as well, and yeah, just kind of kept at it and kind of lived in there and kind of still live in there, and uh, been lucky enough for Lauren to notice and work with her and just continue to develop and grow inside there.
Nice. Yeah. Now, I remember my first project that I ever mint, or I didn't mint it, but the first project I ever purchased was the Slow Patrol way back in early October. And one of my favorite things about kind of the Solana NFT Radar and you specifically in that Discord was you had one of those as your profile picture back when it was actually doing well. And I came in the Discord. This was probably like the first few days, and I was just really excited about the project. I kind of had tunnel vision. I was like, yeah, this is the best project of all time.
Yeah.
I liked the community back then. And you really broke it down. Like you had the PFP, so you were obviously invested in the company or in the Discord, but you were like, hey, this is the stuff you should pay attention to. So I think you do a great job, especially back then, but even more so now. You help newer people realize, hey, yeah, a Discord can be great and a community can be great, but don't go full-fledged into everything and go 100% vested in one thing. I think you did a great job of kind of explaining that to me early on. So I would love just for you to break down kind of the first thoughts that you go through when you're looking at a project, either one that you're going to mint or one that has already been on secondary. So what do you look at? What do you kind of try to assess initially?
So the way, or like the easiest way I try to break down this kind of thing is I've kind of made a list of like 5 things that I think you look for in a project. And again, this isn't necessarily law or the correct way, but these are the 5 things that I kind of look for.
Right.
Not necessarily in any order, but hype, art, devs, community, and what is the 5th one is a good question. And when I think of it, hype, art, devs, community. I'll think of it as we go, but
Yeah, no
the
worries.
more of those that you can kind of check off along the way,
Mm-hmm.
um, the greater the project. Not necessarily is it could be like technically a derivative could have those things to be fair, but
Right.
the more you can. Oh, roadmap's the 5th one.
Yes.
So the more the more of those you can check off as not necessarily just having obviously, but like the more that if you read the roadmap and it's something that you've never seen before, or something unique, not just copy paste of like, hey, we're gonna have staking, we're gonna, yeah, the royalty is cool, great, but like, is this
Yeah.
something new? Is it something that hasn't been done before?
Yeah.
Art, not derivative art, ideally,
We
please,
love
for the
our
love of
monkeys
God.
though.
We'd like, can we just stop with the monkeys? But is it new art? Like, obviously not to compare ourselves to ETH, but if you look at ETH, you can clearly see the difference in the quality of art, right?
Right. Yeah, you
So
can.
if you see something like that, and I would say, I don't know if this is necessarily ETH quality. I'm not super familiar with ETH, so don't quote me. But
Mhm.
you look at a project like Moshi Heads coming up, and I would say that's definitely unique art and something that stands out as different than like the norm from what we're seeing. So something
Right.
like that gets me excited. Devs, not only are the devs good at what they do, but are they engaged in the community?
Yeah.
I think a dev has to be present. I know they're busy, obviously, doing the dev work, so they have like mods and things like that to handle the community. But if they're not engaging with their community, it's not a red flag by any means, but it kind of doesn't sell me on the project as much, because I think as grueling as it can be, and there's a lot of devs that just don't sleep for days. Um,
Right.
I think if you're truly passionate about your project, you're going to be engaged with the community while you're doing the dev work,
Mhm.
as tough as that is. Um, and then
Let me just
community.
stop you there. Let me just stop you there. I mean, when I look at the devs, I mean, I've been in honestly less discords than you probably, but I mean, probably 300 or more discords. And when I hear people try to stand up for a dev team that isn't really engaging in um, the community, and I'm coming at this from I'm building my own project. I mean, you've built your own project. If the dev team is going to step away and kind of be doing stuff on the back end, if they don't prioritize hiring a moderator or making sure they have a few good moderators that are going to really care for the community and focus on cultivating new relationships in the community, I think that is something that I take issue with, because you really need to build a community to have a long-term successful project. Would you feel like that's kind of the same thread that you think of, is either the devs got to really be doing that work? And I think way back to when Tower minted and governor, DeFi governor, I can't remember his name, but that guy was, I literally do not remember when he was not in there. Like, he was in there 24 hours and he was a dev, but then after they minted, they had like 3 or 4 moderators and he wasn't in there nearly as much, but they took care of that community. Now they didn't succeed super long term, they're at like
Right.
minted at 2 and now they're at like 0.8 or whatever. So that's not like a guarantee, but it's something that I look for. Would you say that's like a good critical thought of how you think of that as well? Just thinking a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think a good example, I don't remember the project, but it was one of those where like, yeah, the dev was kind of like AFK, and like there was no update, so you weren't really sure what was going on. And then they had an issue with like one of their mods. I think he stole like soul from a member or something. Like he
Mm,
didn't rug the project, but like there was something that happened that like they got rid of the mod. But
right.
they were like the devs came back when that happened and they were like, oh, you know, he's not part of the team. He was never part of the team. It's like, well, I mean, you're responsible for choosing who your mods are, and your
Right.
mods are responsible for handling your community. Like, if
Hmm.
you don't consider your mods as part of a team and like a crucial part of your project, like, you know, and create engagement and create marketing, things like that, then like you said, that is kind of concerning for me because, you know, it takes the full team effort for a project to be successful. If you're not going to be in the Discord, somebody has to be in the Discord, and that someone is someone that you have to pick. So by default, you trust them, which, you know, of course, over the internet, you know, no identity, it's never a guarantee, but
Yeah, never a
you know,
guarantee.
there's ways to, you know, kind of do your research and figure out who would be a good person. I think a good example of someone who does a really good job at that, I won't say his name just in case he's not like doxed or something. I don't even know his name for sure, but
Okay.
in the Portals Discord, I think it's
Right.
like CHLHL or something. Let's see if I pull up his like Discord name real quick. Um, just so I don't misquote him. I can never find the Portals Discord. I don't know why. It's a blue squirrel. Okay, I got it. Of course he's not online now, so he's making me look bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's CHL.
Okay.
Um, he is the basically like the lead community manager, Portals team. He does all like the project updates, things like that.
Okay.
From day one, he's always been. I see him. Oh, he just popped online. Maybe he's listening in. It's kind of scary. I think you know he's
Yeah.
always online. He always answers questions in chat. He's always posting the announcements, and they're like, you know, they're not like quick announcements. They're full, detailed.
Yeah.
You know, the updates, what's going on, investor news, behind the scenes, development, when's downtown coming, when the citizen car is coming. Like, he's on top of it. You know, I haven't spoke with him that much personally or anything, but I think he's a good example of someone you would look at and say, and not just him, the whole team there, to be fair, but you know, he's not, I don't think he's on the dev team at all. I think he's just community management. And I'm sorry if I'm misspeaking on that, but he does a
Mhm.
great job of keeping everyone engaged and everyone up to date. So I think that's a good example of someone to look to kind of set the bar of what you want in your community.
Yeah, that's good. Now, how long have you had your portal? Because I know you've had it for a while.
So I believe the mint was in November.
Okay.
Um, a couple weeks before the mint, they had their bronze key hunt,
Hmm.
which was like the demo of their portals room that they built out, and it was basically like a scavenger hunt built within the portals environment. So fortunately enough, I was lucky enough to get in there early and kind of figure it out. So I actually won. There was 100 winners, all of which got a portals ivory card. I was lucky
Oh,
enough to
wow.
be one of those winners. So I actually got mine
Nice.
for free, and I've been
Wow.
holding it ever since.
Okay, so this is good. I think that this is really helpful because a lot of brand new people really get excited doing flips. And I mean, I love doing flips. Everybody loves doing flips.
Right.
Going through portals, I mean, they're at what, 80 Soul Floor, 77 or something like that. And they've
Right.
been for a few months now. How talk about your mindset and your I guess when you look at the floor price going up and down, do you worry about it? How did you, as kind of a newer NFT purchaser, or think through, okay, I'm not going to paper hand this. I really think that this is a good long-term holds. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think even just on that point in general, like my first probably like 1 or 2 months, maybe even 3 months, honestly, maybe even all of like 2021, I was
Mhm.
like, if the floor moved like point one, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, like,
Yeah.
do I sell? Do I buy? What do I do? Like, do I call my mom? Like, I don't know what I'm doing right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like it
Yeah,
took me a while to like really become, you know, a diamond hand, I guess you would
yeah,
say. And there's nothing wrong with flipping. Like if you're making profit, like good for you, right? That's ultimately the goal here. Let's not kid ourselves. But
yeah.
you know, the way that you get these bigger gains and you know the 50, 60, 70 X's is the hold. The floor is not going to open at that unless you're champions, which you know
Right,
is not
right.
the case.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, I don't even want to say experience because it was just like this point in time where it clicked like, okay, I know I know if I want to make, the bigger gains and be invested in a project, I need to hold.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like overnight almost. I kind of tied it. It happened to be around the New Year's, so I was like, oh, my resolution is to hold more. But you kind of just realize, like, if I'm buying something, do I believe in it? And if I do believe in it, why am I so quick to get rid of it?
Yeah.
So I looked at, portals. Portals is a different example because like there's so much into it. But you look at what they're building, and you look at, not just the rooms, because the rooms are the first step and like the grand scheme of things, right? It was just like the entry into the portals universe. But you look
Right.
at all the partners they have, and this was before the investor news, but now you look at the investor news, and you see what they're actually building compared to not only any other project, but even like the other metaverse projects that are coming out. And it's
Right.
just on a different level.
It is.
From
Yeah.
the community, like I mentioned with CHL, managing it, to the dev updates, to all the partners that they've released. And I think there's probably still, at least a handful of partnerships they haven't even announced yet. It's just exciting. And it's tough too, because like the floor was stuck at like 9 or 10 or under 20 for probably a couple months, honestly.
Seriously, I remember, gosh, I had a few flips. I was like, okay, you told the Solana NFT Radar, you're like, guys, Portals is still under 10, Portals is under 11. And I was like, okay, I have 3 flips that I'm going to get a portal. And I had 8 SOL, and it was like 9.2 or whatever. And
Right.
hey, what?
Right.
Yeah. And I bought a few. I think I went down to like 2 liquid or whatever, and I all of them flopped, and I think I liquidated a few days later, and it was like 4 SOL total, and then that was like then they popped off, and I was just like, no, I was so close.
Of course, yeah. It always happens. It always seems to happen like that. It is tough.
Yeah.
Like while I was telling people, like, "Hey guys, it's only 9. It's only 9." Like myself, I was also talking to myself there because, like, "Hey man, are you gonna buy another one? Like, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
And even now, like a 9 SOL, I don't think I've ever purchased anything for 9 SOL off secondary. Honestly, like I'm still pretty scared. Like I bought something for 5 the other day. I was like, oh, you're getting kind of crazy here, man. You gotta calm down. But it was, as far as like a conviction play goes, like it was there for a long time at a reasonable entry point. And those who I think there's like a decent amount that I've held from the beginning and never listed, which is also a testament to the project. But the opportunity was there to get in. And we all could have had 5, 6, 7 at this point, but it's tough to find those conviction plays, and it's definitely not the majority of projects. Some you can get in and they pump and dump kind of thing, but Portals is a unique example of especially in the Sol ecosystem, where there's less than Ethereum, for example. But Portals overall is definitely a blue chip, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would say that they've been through a few recoveries that could give it kind of a blue chip status long term. But yeah. Now, I mean, I think that that's great. And I think the biggest takeaway from this is just your New Year's resolution was to hold more, become a diamond hand. And my New Year's resolution was to be able to dunk. So who's really
basically the same thing, right? Think about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that was Hot Sauce. Great information. Thank you for coming on, man. I think the community as a whole is going to learn a lot from this. All right.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. See ya.
Take care.